Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mahala Monday. Absolutely brilliant to have you with us. It is fantastic to be here. Rhoda is here. My name is Dougalthausen.
Good morning, welcome everybody, and I hope you're going to have a fabulous week, and welcome to Mahala Monday.
Yeah, I hope you have had a good weekend. I tell you what, it's
yeah.
a very exciting episode that we've got today. But before we even get to that, what you got to do is, of course, you like and share this, because trust me, man, this is the one thing we do here at Mahala Monday. We give you information, and of course, useful information, but more importantly, and dare I say, life-changing.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah,
And
I like
guys, I love it as well. This is a live show, so send through those questions, send through those comments. You know what? Feel free to ask us anything.
Yeah, no, this is brilliant. And I know a lot of people are watching, so thank you for logging in, and of course, some exciting stuff. But it's all about opportunities. It is about expanding your horizons. It is about going places, reaching for the stars. I mean, choose your analogy. I mean, really, a vast array of analogies. Now, the one thing we've been talking about, and of course, quite recently, we were talking about aviation, haven't we?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard that you wanted to be a pilot. Was that one?
At least somebody I know wanted to be a pilot. But I would actually, I do have a bit of fear of heights. So.
And that's, I was going to... I want to be a pilot, but I'm afraid of heights. Yeah. Exciting, man. Talk about pushing yourself.
It's pushing yourself, definitely. But I know somebody that wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to give my age away, and we'll probably discuss it in the show as well. Yeah, it was one of the challenges we had at our age group that we couldn't become a pilot. You know, so yeah. But we'll have a chat about that one.
The reasons you say that is because planes didn't exist. But be that as it may, what it is all about is about opportunities. And of course, now, if you're a parent right there, and also if you are a student, if you are a learner, it doesn't matter. But reaching for the stars is definitely one thing. And aviation is definitely one sector and one industry that is constantly evolving, constantly expanding. And what we do know is that on the African continent, we only, in terms of the world capacity, we only contribute a little bit. So as far as growth is concerned for the aviation sector within the African continent, the exponential growth, it is absolutely huge, and great opportunity exists. And this brings us to a very special guest, somebody who lives and breathes everything as far as aviation is concerned. Of course, he heads up IFly Academy, and they really go out and help you and highlight the different career opportunities and really explore to you what aviation is all about. So really excited to talk to Derek Teko, who is joining us from IFly. There is my man, Derek. How's it going? How are you, man? Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Mahala Monday. Are you well, sir?
I'm very good, thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys today. Very excited to chat about something that we obviously all love. I know Rhoda was talking about a fear of heights. I think we can flash that out of your system very easily and get you on the journey to being a pilot.
Now, first off, just you a pilot, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah, that is really where everything started for me. So yeah, the dream was definitely to conquer the skies, and I'm very privileged to have been able to get my pilot license.
Wow. Absolutely awesome.
Love it.
Listen, so there's moms, there's dads, they're watching this, young people are watching this, and they're going, okay, wait, hang on a minute. There's a lot of growth opportunities within the aviation sector. I'm actually thinking, because there's a lot of scope with it. But before we actually delve into it, quickly, just give us the background. What is IFly all about? What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, even before I speak about IFly, you touched on a very important point, about Africa and our place in the aviation market globally. And, the growth potential of this continent is ridiculous. Only 2% of the global aviation industry is served by Africa. And we are 1.3 billion people. So, the potential for us to expand into the sector, to create opportunities for ourselves and to grow our industry is huge because we're coming from a small base. Yeah, so IFly is all about being a part of that potential growth for Africa and supporting that growth, Africa's aviation development. The aviation industry is more than just about planes. It's more than just about pilots. There's just so many facets to it. And just as part of supporting that growth and development of the industry, one of the key things for the industry to have is a pipeline for human capital development, you know. So it's important for us, for young people on the continent to have a pathway to get into the industry. It's important for us to secure skilled manpower, you know, to support our growth, you know. But IFly is at the core of that, and for us, we look at our place in the industry as a vehicle and also as a bridge. We're trying to bridge the gap between the community and the industry. One of the reasons why there's not a lot of African people in the aviation industry is because they simply just don't know about it. You can't dream about something that you don't know, you know. So one of the first things you really have to learn about it. Took me a very long time as well to learn about aviation and the opportunity. You know, you have to be aware of the opportunity, and our people are not they're not exposed to it. Our education system is not designed to expose that opportunity as well. So a lot of young people miss out on it. And also our aviation industry, perhaps this is one of the reasons why it's lagging, because we are missing that talent. You know, we're missing the talent because they're simply not also getting into the industry. Yeah. So we need to take action, you know, and we are on the African continent where obviously there's a large population of people who are poor, who are disadvantaged, and a large chunk of the potential talent for the industry lies in those demographics. So we have to find a way as well to uplift them and get them into the industry. Yeah. So IFly is all about, you know, in a diverse way, trying to get the opportunity and trying to take it to everyone across different backgrounds that exist, and to show them and to create pathways for them to get into the industry. You know, so it starts with aviation awareness, you know, and trying to build that culture of aviation.
Now, Derek, sorry to cut you there. Now, I mean, the things that you've been doing when you're working with the youth, how that been perceived? How they have received it?
It's amazing. The impact is huge. You know, aviation, I think, it's easy to take for granted. Aviation as a tool for empowerment is amazing, you know. There's very few industries that can have the kind of impact that aviation has. You know, like being a pilot, it's the stuff of dreams. You know, who wouldn't who wouldn't dream about that? You know, so using aviation as a tool for empowerment, no matter what sector young people are going to end up to, can be such a huge tool in just even making young people believe that they can achieve anything. You know, because it is a challenge as well, you know, at the same time as it is an opportunity. It's been very well received. You know, the communities we get into, the schools that we go to, you know, young people are excited to learn about aviation. Young people are keen and they're enthusiastic to get to know more about how they can get into the industry. So the work is extremely important, you know, and, you know, we take it seriously as well because of that.
Yeah. So the question I wanted to ask you, obviously, with what was happening with IFly during COVID, how did this impact? So how's things looking now for aviation? You know, given what's happened through COVID.
Yeah. So as we all know, COVID has just obliterated most industries, and especially aviation. Aviation tends to be it's one of those that are most exposed, you know, especially when it comes to economic issues and, you know, geopolitical, you know, for example, even the war in Ukraine. So the COVID pandemic really took the industry down on its knees. And at some point, the industry pretty much did not exist because there's a time when there was no single aircraft flying, you know, over our skies, at least not commercially, you know. So it's something that the industry has never experienced before. And hopefully we never experience it again. Yeah, so what it did is a lot of people, and COVID tested every company that you can think about in the aviation industry. So those that were found weak really did not survive, you know. So coming out of the pandemic, a lot of organizations, a lot of companies across the entire spectrum of the aviation industry, it's not just airlines, all those that might have had some weaknesses here and there, maybe no liquidity, there are no more, So because of that, the industry has sort of shrunk, So the industry has shrunk, There's less aircraft flying than there were in 2019. Even up to now, in terms of air traffic, we are still only just at about 70-80% of pre-pandemic levels. And this is 3 years ago. For an industry that has always grown by a certain margin, we're still way behind 2019. So the industry has shrunk to some extent. A lot of people lost jobs, So there's a lot of people as well. There's a lot of manpower that's still unemployed, So that was the main effect. But that's not to say that the industry has diverted from its promising future. The future is still very much bright. I think coming into 2022, the industry has bounced back even better than we expected, better than all these analysts and commentators could have ever predicted.
Yeah.
And now we even having capacity constraints in some places because some airports did not expect the traffic would bounce back this quickly. And there's places, there's places where, you're finding long queues because maybe the manpower has shrunk as a result of what happened, and they can no longer handle these sorts of capacity constraints. So the industry is bouncing back. So it's time to be excited again. And it's time for me, it's time for optimism. Aviation.
Do you know what? Because I've got a personal, like a different view, because I'm thinking now that things are slowly getting back, and especially to what you said, that we just sort of that under that 2019 levels, and considering the industries and the sector's growth that was sort of rhythmic over a while. I think demand is there. I think things are just the floodgates are going to open. That's really what I think. I think the floodgates are going to open to ways that we haven't, because we're going to catch up. Somehow nature just sorts itself out. The levels get going again. I want to ask you. I want to ask you on the thing, but I also just want to say hi to Shirkan, who says morning. And just to remind you, of course, if you have any questions and comments, then please, the details are at the bottom of your screen. Put it in. And Derek Nseko is with us, of course, from iFly, and he can answer all those questions. Put him on the spot. He doesn't mind. He's a man who looks normally down. He's a pilot.
I'm here to take in questions. Part of my life. Yeah.
So I just want to move on quickly, Derek. Obviously there's pilots, there's aeronautical engineers, there are air traffic controllers. I can't really think of anything else. But opportunities within this as a possible career. Young people are always looking, okay, what else are there? But in terms of the opportunities, talk to us about that.
Yeah, the opportunities are many because this is an industry. We, as aviation, we also do not live on an island. Aviation is supported by other subsectors as well, and also, for an aircraft to get from point A to point B, there's so many different bits and pieces that have to come together, for that to happen. There's first of all, the aircraft lands at an airport, takes off at an airport. So there's a whole ecosystem around an airport that is still aviation, Exactly. So, once you get to an airport, someone has to take care of you. There's someone at the front desk, there's baggage that has to be handled. There's ground handling companies that do handle this baggage. It gets on the aircraft, these companies take care of the baggage. There's aircraft has to be refueled. There's people who have to refuel it, and there's companies that take care of this job. So even before the aircraft takes off, as part of just the airline's own ecosystem, there's dispatchers who work hand in hand with the airport in terms of flight planning and everything, and ensuring that everything is well prepared, and then you talk about the pilots, talk about the cabin crew, the aircraft, there's food, there's catering, there's just so much that comes in, and there's so many opportunities all around this. Like I always tell people that no matter who you are, there's a place for you in aviation, even if you're an expert at cooking food. If you're a writer, you've got a magazine, you could be the person who is publishing the in-flight magazine. You know, yeah, I mean, you could be the person sorting out the fuel. You could be in baggage handling, ground handling, or whatever it might be. I mean, we do have aviation doctors as well.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
there's aviation lawyers. So you can be anything and still be in this industry.
I was just going to ask you now, because I always find it fascinating, because whenever we're flying, and then you're always seeing all the activities once you start landing, and the one person that really fascinates me is the guy with the light that actually brings the plane.
Oh, the lollipop dude.
The lollipop dude, yeah. So he's got these lights, and he, you know. So I find him quite fascinating. He's one of my favorite guys on the
Let's call him the lollipop dude. Yeah.
Listen, don't spoil it for me. I just thought it was always people happy to see me.
No.
Just leave it there.
Like that, you know. Yeah. No, that's actually quite interesting, man. Because you can literally decide if you want the plane to turn left or right, or to ram into the wall.
There we go. And I always find I kind of feel worried and kind of scared for him as well, because, you know, he's like putting his life in danger. He's in front of this plane, and this massive thing is coming towards you, and there's he standing, you know. So it always kind of stressed me out, and I've always felt for him. I didn't feel for the baggage guys
so
or anybody
the careers
else, but
are
for
many,
him.
to be honest with you. I mean, there's a fire department that's dedicated
Exactly.
to flying. There's air traffic controllers who are there to ensure, you know, the safety, separation of aircraft while it's in the air.
Exactly.
You know, and it's important for young people to get to know about all these options, you know, so they can make the decisions for themselves, because we all have different interests. We all have come from different backgrounds. So, I mean, not everyone wants to be a pilot. Not, you know, there's people dreaming about just being cabin crew, you know. People want to do the other thing. And it's important for us to distribute the talent anyways, just for the good of the industry anyway.
Yeah. Now, we're going to talk more about the opportunities and then the route and the way forward for the industry, but I just want to backtrack it quickly. So take us through what it is that you would typically do. Paint the picture for us. So IFly, you arrive at a school, and then the learners come, and then you go through it, and I want to get into subject choices and all of this. Because a young person who's now in grade 7 or who's probably watching this going, wait a minute, here's a little something. And I want to talk about that. So quickly take us through the thing. You arrive at school, and what is it that you do?
Yeah, so there's two elements to what we do. There's the aviation awareness, and there's this area that works with developing the skills. Yeah. So we believe, as part of creating the pathway for people to get into the industry, the important thing is, first of all, attract, you know, and then skill. You know, we have to right skilled people for the industry. But attracting people is very simple, because you can simply attract by simply showing and exposing, you know. One of the things that a very good friend of mine, when I was still in flight school, used to tell me, even when we would go to the mall, and he would invite me or ask me to come for lunch, he would force me to wear my uniform, you know. He would force me to wear my uniform. And for him, the philosophy is that, you know, 99.9% of the people here have never seen a pilot in real life, you know. And you can add a few numbers to that to figure out the number of people who have never seen a black pilot, you know. So, you know, so it's the first thing is to just, you know, just change that stereotype, you know, by simply showing people that, you know, it's possible, you know, and putting role models right before them. So for us, it's first of all about taking these professionals there, and people can see them firsthand that, listen, I can also, this guy is from a background that is similar to mine, and they've made it in the industry. So surely I can do it too.
Yeah,
you know?
And I must say, even when I'm flying these days, I see lady pilots, and I just basically get 100%. So excited because this is something we've never seen, never experienced, and I'm seeing more and more of our ladies, women, taking control of the plane. I mean, if we can control a car, why can't we control a plane? There we go.
100%, and that's one of the narratives as well that we want to change, even as IFly. You know, these demographics, the numbers are still very, very bad. So globally, the female pilots are around 6% of pilots. 5 to 7%, somewhere in between is female. You know, the number is still ridiculously small. So, but that's something that stems from stereotypical thinking, because the women have been meant to believe that this is a male profession. You know, so it's very easy to try and change that, you know. So I mean, we have to move around with these other females that can empower fellow females, you know. So you know, and it's important. I always tell female pilots that it's their responsibility, you know, to change that, you know,
Yes,
just by existing more visibly, you know, just by being more visible as role models.
As you did with your uniform. And that makes perfect
As
sense.
I did.
With your
I mean, I wasn't showing off, but yeah, I was.
Yeah. John is watching. John Howell, thanks, man, guys.
Hey,
it's great to be good to have you on board. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, that's extremely important. And then engagement is very important as well, you know. So it's good to have initiatives and activities that can be very engaging. It's funny you've mentioned John there.
Oh yeah.
Through John, we discovered this very simple activity that we actually did in Cape Town as well, where you can engage young people by simply just getting them to build paper aeroplanes, just paper aeroplanes, and we can have fun with them, and everyone gets to build their plane, and we see who's built the most efficient aircraft, and we throw and see who's goes furthest. And even we as adults, we had so much fun doing that at the outreach event for Aviators in Cape Town. So I mean, engagement is extremely important. At IFly, what we do, we also go with flight simulators to the schools.
Yeah.
So what we do is we install flight simulator on laptops, and we have some hardware that goes with it. And through that, it's very exciting, you know, seeing your friends land actual planes. And you know, the simulation is extremely good, you know, and it's a nice tool as well to expose young people without actually going to the actual aircraft, that this is what it looks like, and this is actually what you do, what you have to do in order to man an actual aircraft. So that's just one of so engagement for us is very important as well.
Awesome. Thank you. The other thing we want to talk to you about is when it comes to subject choice, and I'm not sure if subject choices are the right phrase here, Oda, but you mentioned something to me about the subjects.
That's right, and I know somebody had spoken to me regarding this as well. You know, they needed to make 100% sure subject choices, obviously, because she said her son wanted to be in aviation. It's obviously vitally important to be able to make those choices, obviously at the early stage within school, to say, okay, if you're going to be in aviation. And I just also want to touch on the fact, obviously, there's STEMs that we're going to be chatting about as well. You know, and just telling us a little bit more about that, how you have combined that, or basically with your aviation as well.
Yes. Where do I start? The subjects, yes. And I always say this with a little bit of caution, because there's a lot of people who come to me and say, listen, I studied this and this in high school, and maybe they're already done. You could be already a matric, and you know, you want to get into aviation, but obviously I'm not going to tell you to now go and study X, Y, and Z, you know. So I always say that these subjects, they are desirable, you know, for you to successfully navigate flight school, but they are not a prerequisite. You're not going to be denied entrance into flying school or from having an education towards an aviation course. Well, for some, it might be possible, perhaps things like aeronautical engineering, you know, but it's not necessarily always a prerequisite that, listen, if you didn't do mathematics, you cannot go to flying school. But it is desirable because the course, for example, the flying course, and I always refer to that because obviously that's my background, is both practical and theory. So once you get in there, yes, you might be amazing at flying, but if you don't get your subjects right, you don't get the theoretical subjects right, it could stop you from actually getting your pilot license, you know. So, and some of the subjects, it's very interesting actually, because it's a very diverse set of subjects that we study towards a pilot license. So yeah, but predominantly mathematics is at the core of that. You know, obviously you need geography because, you know, this is pretty much geography as well. You'll be amazed to find that we even study biology in flying school.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because there is a human factor to flying, and you have to understand that we as human beings, we were not built for flight, you
Yeah.
know.
So
So
true.
existing or living your life at 30,000 feet, your body is going to play some tricks with you,
Exactly.
and you might be better placed to actually understand how your system works at that altitude than not. So it's very, very important.
Yeah, so that's brilliant. Now, also the thing is where you guys have a lot of fun with robotics, with the youth as well.
Yes, yes, we do. And we're very excited about that because that's the side of our offering that has grown tremendously, especially since just before COVID started. And we were lucky to align ourselves with some partners that were running some amazing STEM programs. But the rationale behind this, to be honest with you, STEM is important. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
True.
For us, this is the technology side of things because industry today, the aviation industry, the cockpit of today, you're going to fly a plane versus the one of 40 years ago. They are vastly different. You know, your skill as a pilot might be the same. You might be required to do very similar things, pretty much the same things in order to operate the actual aircraft. But the environment that is governing the flight is completely automated today. You need to be computer literate in order to
Exactly.
understand the modern aircraft of today, so you might as well also prepare yourself in that sense. And it's unfortunate the training as well has not changed much. I think this is something that I try to advocate for as well. The training towards some of these courses has not really changed adequately enough to skill people for example, for automation and for the kind of technology that is existing in the industry. So it's important for us to instill these skills early on before people even get into these courses. So coding,
Exactly.
robotics, these are some of the activities we engage with, and it's an important education. No matter
Yeah.
which career you're getting into, the careers of today, they are driven by science, they're driven by technology. So we
True.
have to understand the way technology works.
Yeah.
That's why we do the STEM activities. We believe that it's an important part of the pathway into
Pathway.
the industry. So that is part of just right skilling people for the aviation industry of today and tomorrow, because this is what is driving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to find out quickly because last week we spoke to John, obviously, and he was telling us about. And I'm looking at like we started off the show, and you said there's quite a big possibility of different jobs within the aviation. And one of them that actually really caught my attention, which I think was very modern and very cool, was it was the drone pilots. So this is something new also that I heard. So it doesn't have to be the plane necessarily. It could be in the drone side as well.
Yes, and like I said, this is how the world is changing around
Exactly.
us. I mean, today, yeah, the drone industry is still very young, but
Yeah.
the growth is tremendous. And I look at it now as even an entry point, a key entry point into the industry, because for people looking in and trying to get into aviation, one of the challenges is financial. It's not aviation education does not come easy on the pocket.
Exactly.
So looking at the drone industry and the opportunities it's offering, and it's going to offer more opportunities. If you're looking to just get your step into aviation, that is a good place to start. And
Exactly.
you study a lot of the same things that you do study as a pilot, because you have to understand pretty much the same environment. Drones are flying in the same space as aircraft.
Exactly.
So but
So,
just on its
yeah.
own as well, it's an industry of tremendous opportunity going forward.
Yeah.
So it presents its own opportunities for people, and I think people should not always just look at going into simply just fly a plane.
Exactly.
It's important to assess these opportunities, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
And given the opportunities and for routes, the growth within the industry, I mean, we've heard reports before as well. We're looking at, we already, as it currently stands, we a couple of thousand jobs short of what it is. And that is not even just a COVID thing, that is just where it is. So given the new opportunities where aviation and the sector in itself finds itself on the continent, I mean, this is a very desirable and it's a great opportunity for anybody who's interested to sort of pursue this as a career path.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no better time than now. Always, I tell people there's no better time than now because, you know, the industry is always growing. You know, so I mean, I could put a percentage to that, but the industry is growing. But remember that we started this conversation with speaking about the opportunity that Africa has to offer. Our growth potential is way bigger than that of the rest of the world because we are coming from a much smaller base. You know. We are coming from a 2% chunk of the global industry, yet we are like what 16% of the global population. So the growth potential is huge. So why not start now and you know, to set ourselves on the path for tomorrow.
Yeah, Derek, how do people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about IFly?
Yeah, I am pretty much everywhere, to be honest. So
Look up.
Yeah, 30,000 feet to start with. Yeah, social media. I think I'm pretty responsive on social media, or all of them really, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you know. But yeah, even by email, I think have no problem dropping me an email. I think maybe we'll put it in the comments there, Derek.
We've got all your things flying along. So we've got all your details. So that is how people could get in touch with you. Derek, this has been a fascinating chat, and it is really
it's been for me too.
Yeah, listen, we're going to talk again.
Most definitely. I think we need another show.
We need to talk to you again. Before we let you go, any final thoughts from your side?
Yeah, any final thoughts really would be, I mean, if there's any young people who are listening in, no matter what the situation, the thing is, the challenge always is financial. So there's a lot of people who do come into my DMs as well, looking for opportunities to get in because perhaps maybe you can't afford or whatever. You know, for me, I always say there's nothing that should ever put you back on pursuing the dream, and just you have to keep that dream alive. And I think the opportunity always comes for those who are really very focused on getting that dream and who are single-minded in trying to achieve it. For example, in this country, there's a lot of opportunity for young people to get in. There's funding opportunities in this country that are not in so many other places. You know, so you have to dig deep. This is a very special career, and it's a great opportunity. But you have to dig deep. You have to be, you have to persevere. You know, if you're trying to get in there, because there's so many people who are knocking on the door as well. You know, so you really need to deserve it by just the simple factor of your own perseverance and your passion and your enthusiasm. I think something always opens up eventually.
Definitely.
Absolutely awesome. It has been a real privilege talking to you, Derek, and and I'm sure we're just going to talk to you a lot more.
Yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure and happy to come back if there's more questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Derek Tseko, thank you very much for joining us from IFly. We wish you all the best, and long may you continue the amazing work that you've been doing, and congratulations on doing that and expanding the horizons of people and allowing them to dream bigger and dream more, and making that opportunities and dreams a reality. So for that alone, man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks for your time today as well. We wish you well. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
That's Derek Tseko. You know what? And really it is, because that's what IFly does. And as he stated, they work in between that gap within the community and the school. And it is really just creating an awareness to an industry and a sector that a lot of talk is always about it, and not always the positive talk, because when aviation comes into the news, it's always like all these other things.
Exactly.
But the biggest thing about it is the opportunity that exists within the sector.
And to make that change.
Yeah. I mean, there he said it. 2% of the global capacity on the we're talking continental contribution here to the global capacity. 2% is a lot of people on this continent.
It's a lot.
Lot. There's a lot of people just in my street. I'm just saying. But the point is 2%.
Exactly. And
the stats is we're 16% of the global population. So surely the growth is going to be like more so in this sector than anything else.
And I'd love to check in with Derek again and just, in a few months time, just see what the difference is, because obviously there'll be changes as well. And then I actually just want to send the message out there to the youngsters out there that's looking at, and I'm always kind of stuck at this one interview we did on Mahala, where one of the kids was wanting to do basically what their mother was doing, how do I basically become a cleaner? Guys, please, opportunities are out there. With my generation, I'm not going to give my age away, we were restricted on saying we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do this. You could only be a teacher, you could only be a nurse, which was supposed to be the professionals back in the day. Now there's silver platters. Yeah, IFly. There's opportunities out there. Last week we spoke to John. There's such a lot happening in Africa. And I think we should stop focusing on the negatives of what's happening within the aviation side, the horrible things that's happening within South Africa, and start looking at opportunities. Like you say, 2%. I mean, we are so big.
Numbers don't lie. That is
guys.
the one thing. Numbers never lie. So the numbers are definitely a clear indication. Miranda Gerwel is watching as well. Hello. Morning, and thank you very much for watching. What I really want everybody to do is like and share this, and more importantly, get the conversations going. And it is individuals like Derek and Seko who are staking this industry and highlighting the benefits of that, and just allowing people to dream and seek new opportunities, and that needs to be applauded more than anything. So to Derek, once again, I mean, it's amazing what you're doing. And I mean, Derek is a pilot himself.
He's a pilot.
He always looks down. I want to be a lollipop dude.
I also like him.
I also want to be that dude. Because you always see them. And
you always see him.
Anyway, be that as it may. Thank you very much for watching Mahala Monday. Once again, thank you very much to our special guest, Derek Seko, who joined us here from IFly. And go check it out. Definitely go visit their website, of course, and like and share this. And we look forward to next week when we have another exciting episode. Thank you to everybody who's watching. And glad that you did. That's it from us.
See you. Keep well. Have a fabulous week. Bye.